Hello dear followers of Red Confession Stories. Today, I'll be sharing the story of Kevin, a high school teacher, and how a close friendship with his colleague and the man's wife turned into something entirely unexpected, something forbidden. This story is about how Kevin, who initially didn't think much of his friend's wife Natalie, ended up finding himself drawn to her in a way he never imagined. The story you're about to hear reflects Kevin's personal thoughts and experiences. They are not the views or opinions of Red Confession Stories. So, let's begin. Hi everyone, I'm Kevin. I'm 27 years old, and I work as a teacher in a public high school in Dallas, Texas. I'd like to tell you about how I got close, maybe too close, with my colleague Adam's wife, Natalie. 3 years ago, I was assigned to the high school where I currently teach. On my very first day there, I met Adam and his wife Natalie. They were newlyweds at the time, and we were all roughly the same age, which made it easy to connect. Before long, we became really good friends. We'd chat about everything, from work, to sports, to relationships. Adam and Natalie were always joking about finding me someone to date. They'd say things like, "You can't be single forever, man. Let's find you someone nice. It's about time you settled down." But I wasn't ready to settle down. I had just landed a good job, and honestly, I wanted to enjoy my freedom for a bit. At first, I didn't really warm up to Natalie. But as I got to know her, spent more time around her, she started to grow on me. Her smile, her energy, she had this warm, sweet vibe that was hard to ignore. One day, Adam had to urgently leave town for a family emergency. He called me and asked a favor. Since we were all close, he didn't think twice before saying, "Kev, Natalie doesn't like staying home alone. Would you mind staying at our place for a couple days while I'm gone?" Of course, I said yes. I told him not to worry, I'd be there. I packed a small overnight bag, grabbed a few essentials, and headed to their place. After a quick chat and some tea, Natalie and I drove Adam to the bus terminal. Once he left, we stopped by a diner to grab dinner before heading back home. Back at the house, we had our meal, shared some casual conversation, and things felt totally normal. Then, as we were sitting in the living room, Natalie said, "I'm going to go change into something comfy. You should too, put on your sweats or something. Make yourself at home." "Sure," I said with a smile. She headed into the master bedroom, and I waited a bit before going to the guest room to change. The guest room they prepared for me was just down the hall from their bedroom. As I walked past the slightly open bedroom door, I accidentally saw her. She was changing. I only caught a glimpse, but it was enough to jolt something in me. I felt a wave of embarrassment and immediately turned my head, rushing into my room. My heart was racing. There was this unfamiliar excitement in my chest that I couldn't shake off. I tried to calm myself as I changed into more comfortable clothes. Just as I was starting to feel a bit more normal, the door opened. Natalie walked in. She paused when she saw me mid-change. "Oh my God, I'm so sorry," she said and quickly stepped out, clearly flustered. Once I finished getting dressed and took a few moments to breathe, I walked out into the hallway. I glanced toward the living room, but she wasn't there. "Natalie?" I called out. "I'm in the kitchen." "Come join me if you want," she replied. When I stepped into the kitchen, she was making tea and putting together a plate of fruit. She looked a little embarrassed, but when she saw me, she smiled and said, "Sorry about earlier, I totally forgot to knock." "My bad." I laughed it off. "Don't worry. We're friends, right?" She kept smiling. Her easygoing attitude helped me relax. As we sipped our tea, I teased her again about finding me a date. "So, when are you going to set me up with someone?" I joked. "Soon," she said with a playful grin. "Well, whoever it is better be sweet." "Someone like you, or I won't approve," I said. She blushed a bit and laughed. "Thanks. I didn't know you thought that way about me." "Why wouldn't I? You're beautiful, kind, you've got it all." I went on, "Adam's lucky to have someone like you." "Oh, stop," she said. "I know myself. I'm nothing special." "I disagree," I said. "You're amazing. You're funny, you're pretty. If I had someone like you, I'd be the happiest guy around." I could tell those words made her feel good. There was a visible shift in the air, a subtle, unspoken energy between us. She laughed at everything I said, and her body language became more open, more relaxed, more affectionate. Later, we moved to the living room and decided to watch a romantic movie. As the movie played, the romantic scenes on screen somehow mirrored the growing tension between us. We started sitting apart, but as time passed, the space between us disappeared. At some point, we stopped watching the movie. We were looking at each other instead. Our eyes locked. The conversation slowed down and deepened. Every word made things warmer, more electric. That night, in a moment that neither of us had planned, we crossed a line. Those 2 nights I stayed at their house. They're nights I'll never forget. When Adam returned, I packed my things and left without saying much. Natalie and I never talked about it again. But whenever we see each other, at school, at social gatherings, our eyes meet. And there's still something there. A connection. A secret. A memory. Yes, friends, every confession tells a different story. If you want to hear more stories like this, make sure to subscribe to the channel and leave a comment below. Until next time, stay safe and take care.